We just went through a pretty heavy snow last night, and I thought it'd be nice I wanted to go out to the high tunnels anyway to check on how they're doing. I thought it'd be nice to bring folks along to do an update, see how our seedlings are doing, see how things are faring after a pretty heavy snow with a fair bit of winds, and now we're thawing out just a little bit. I haven't been out here in a few days, so it'll be interesting to see. And I'm gonna dig out and get some access so I can actually get in there, and then we'll take a look. One thing that consistently impresses me with these cattle panel high tunnels is just how well they deal with heavy wind and heavy snow. This is a good 6-inch plus snow. That's not heavy, but it shed every last drop of it once the sun struck it. It's like it really wants the snow to come off. I didn't clean any of this off, I didn't sweep. It just auto cleans as soon as the sun comes out. So I haven't gone in here, so I'm going to open it up. We're at about 35 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And, ooh, it's hot in here. Those spinaches that I potted up a little ways back, they're really creaking at the corners. They need to find their home, their final home. I need to almost water these. That'll work. And about 35 degrees outside. And in here, let's see. There we go. It's 61 degrees. Now I have this thermometer stored behind fire bricks, so it doesn't absorb any direct solar radiation. So that's just the ambient air temperature without solar gain is 61. It didn't go below or touched freezing in here. Got relatively low humidity overnight, but really nice right now. It's a good temperature for a high tunnel after a pretty intense snowstorm. And what I would think is that underneath these cold frames, it absolutely did not go below freezing. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Here's the fun of these. I do not believe this is the design I want to use in the long run. Let me pause for a second and actually set up a tripod. So I mentioned this before, of trialing a few different systems for doing cold frames in a high tunnel to really give a season extension. And these, I think in the long run, these are going to be a great fit for being out in the garden, where we might do radishes or turnips or things that we don't need to have a lot of access. We basically need to seed them, get them started, give them protection, and accelerate them in the spring, but we don't need to interact with them a lot. But seed starting wise, I think I really need to focus energy on using these structures. This one hasn't been seeded out with anything yet, but this tempered glass storm window, which I got at a reuse center for $3, it comes on and off very easily without disturbing the plants below. And once it's warm enough, I can simply just take the whole thing off. So I think this is the direction I want to go in, but I'll show you. Let me take this one up and see how it does. So this one I've got to lift the whole thing. Wow. Set it aside. Well, some good things and also some frustrating things. Let me take a look. Lots and lots of little seedlings coming up. That part's exciting. Red mustard greens are looking good. Seraphon, which I think is a type of a mustard. But you might be seeing this as well. We are getting wailed on by voles. So that's cute. You get to see the pros and the cons of this system. I'm definitely not sugarcoating what we're doing here. I think being under that protection, I can actually see their tunnels where they're moving through here. And I see one in the corner where they're coming up. I need to set some mouse traps in here. I think with voles in particular, I'll need to put an old pot or a cover of some sort with a trap inside that's baited, because they don't really go for baited traps if they're out in the open. So that's something we're going to have to deal with ASAP, because we're going to lose things otherwise. But lots and lots of lettuce starts, red Russian kale we should be able to transplant. Even with all this damage, in some ways the voles just make it a little bit easier, because these are way overcrowded. And we're hoping to get the timing on these that they're really thick, ready to go when we move a little bit closer to actual spring and we can transplant them directly out to the garden. I don't think we're transplanting them today, but you get the idea. So hopefully these little annual starts can move out. We learned a hard lesson as well, another failure with this. All of our saved onion seed from a year or 2 years ago, we're getting nearly zero germination, so we'll have to start with those again. And now we're in mid-March, it's pretty good chance we won't be able to grow very nice large-sized onions this season. So that's a lesson for us, is start with fresh onion seed each year or store them very, very carefully. I see this one's just starting to germinate, but that is... Sasha grows such crazy stuff. I don't even know what this is. Herba Stella, whatever that is. Cilantro hasn't come up yet. Anyway, the important part is with heavy snowstorm and some much colder weather that we've been dealing with, these little seedlings are doing just fine, with the exception of the fact that voles are wailing on them. So that's the next thing to work on. So this high tunnel, maybe unfortunately, I've committed a fair bit of these poly little mini low tunnels, cold frames. I think I will switch these out with the static boxes with the glass tops, but they're fine for now. What they're really definitely doing is holding in moisture and creating lots of vole habitat. That's fun. But they're germinating the weed seeds that are in here, which by and large look like they're brassicas and lettuces, which I'm fine with. We'll let that grow for a little bit. I haven't seeded anything out in here yet to high value crops or nursery crops, but these are certainly helping to just charge the soil with a lot of warmth. I'm seeing some vetch pop up. It's already 2 or 3 inches tall. So it's telling me the soil temperature in here is high enough to start lots of things. I can go through, do one last round of weeding of those little seedlings, and even without the poly caps, I'm seeing chickweed and mustards coming up. This is even a purple auric. So these are all neat crops. There's even boneberry. Oh well, should filter my compost a little better. And absolutely, again, vole problems. I set some traps in here before, but voles are so smart. In this container, they really wailed on the spinach that was in here. They managed to eat all around without hitting that. I bet if I touched it lightly as anything, it would snap on me. And they had a feast in here before that. I've got to think this through in the long run. Maybe we need to lure a cat into the picture or something. It's a little tough. The voles really do a serious amount of damage. I think I just need to plant way more than we think we need. Overall, I'm seeing, as cold and wintry as it's been, this high tunnel is actually really drying out. And part of the reason is that this is a recent renovation where I've made these side walls, following the pattern from that other high tunnel where I had the well in the corner. I dug out a much larger well here for now, which is crazy over nutrified. I think there's just a lot of compost leaching that's going into this, which is great for seeds, that's fine. But what I'm going to do is dig this out in a more thorough way and then line it with sheet metal roofing to make like well walls, and then put a cap over the whole thing and use a solar pump to lift water. But this will hold a lot more water for me. For now, the very low-tech thing is take my sawed-off watering can, just use my pruning shears to do that, and make sure I don't drop my camera or my body in this. And now I can water everything and take that extra nutrient and pour it out. So I'm just going to water in here for now. That's an update for today. get the weeds pulled from in here and get ready to seed things out, along with lots of lures and traps for voles, until we can figure out how to get the ecosystem to do that work for us. Thanks for watching.